So Michael Bloomberg's announcement that he would run for the 2020 Democratic nomination for president is raising some questions about whether the candidate is the best match for the party. The billionaire businessman turned politician served as New York City's mayor from 2001 to 2013.
Last year, Bloomberg re-registered as a Democrat after having been a Republican and independent in previous years. Now, New Yorkers and Democrats are taking a look back at his 12-year record as mayor.
For more on Michael Bloomberg's time as mayor, Doug Muzzio is joining us now. He's a chief pollster at Baruch College Survey Research. Hi.
Hi.
Did I say that right?
Baruch.
Baruch. Thank you. So sorry, I'm sort of going through my notes quickly. So first off, let's talk about Bloomberg sort of flipping back and forth in terms of his party affiliation. What sort of impact do you think that could have? I mean, the thing about it is I don't know how many people are aware of that outside of this area, though.
But they will become aware of
Right.
it as he becomes a more formidable candidate. He's a flip-flopper. He's got more flip-flops than a beach fish, you know. Democrat, Republican, Independent, Democrat.
Yeah.
He primarily rents parties and then runs on them. As his term for mayor, as indicative of what he might do, he's going to be in trouble for stop and frisk. There were more than 5 million stops. 88% of them didn't end up in an arrest or a fine. Overwhelmingly, disproportionately black and Latino. How does he win the black vote with this kind of albatross?
Yeah.
Not likely. Also, inequality grew in the city when he was mayor. He's famously noted that he wanted more millionaires to move in, that New York City was a luxury good. And when he was mayor, public housing left to deteriorate, Rikers Island, homelessness. He kicked the contracts down the road for city workers, city time scandal, which would make Boss Tweed grin, and the Muslim spying. So there's lots of negatives that can be used by opponents for Mike Bloomberg.
The question that I guess I have is, given that Mayor Bloomberg has always been sort of a data-driven guy, he looks at data and he then makes decisions,
Right.
whether it's regards to his business or when he was the mayor here in New York City.
Right.
I wonder what he has seen in the last 3 months or so, because he was here at CBS this morning and he was asked about running, and he said he sees nothing that would lead him to indicate that Joe Biden is not going to be the front runner and the nominee. What do you think he's seeing?
Well, I mean, he's looking at detailed numbers. He's seeing the potentiality of Biden collapsing or being seriously weakened. Creates a vacuum in this sort of the center lane of the Democratic Party. I don't think it's possible, but I didn't think Trump was possible either. How does he win? How does he win the Democratic primary? He skips the first 4 states. He concentrates on Super Tuesday. The only thing that he can do is he might win enough delegates, since Democrats divide their delegates proportionately. He might get enough delegates to be the power broker. So winning for Mike Bloomberg might not be the nominee. He might decide the nominee. Also, he wins if he gets the message across. He's going to spend $1 billion.
Right. It's a lot of money.
So how
That's a
about
lot of
that?
money.
If you have deep pockets, maybe you can control the narrative. We are living in a time of a President Trump, a Trump presidency. I mean, everything that you listed off there, there's all kinds of negative things you could say about President Trump. It didn't stop him at all. And then we do these sort of polls where it certainly seems like beating Trump is a primary focus of Democratic voters.
That's true, but I mean, Mike Bloomberg would have to get through the nomination process, and I don't think he can do it. There is no clear pathway to the nomination. Even with a Biden erosion or collapse, I don't think he's the candidate.
He apologized for stop and frisk.
Which seems very politically calculated.
I mean, it was totally expedient. The timing was absurd. I mean, talk about disingenuous. I mean, he was the double down on stop and frisk as late as January of this year. It's a last-minute conversion.
Let me ask you this, though. Even the things that you mentioned that perhaps were not favorable to New Yorkers and perhaps to people who are liberal, because he was a Republican mayor. We keep, he's running for the Democratic nomination, but those policies that we talked about were Republican policies that we put into place. That means that they were not going to necessarily be popular with many New Yorkers. There must be some things that he is seeing that he did here as mayor of New York that might energize people who are moderates, especially in states where Democrats have struggled. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, maybe he's seeing data there that says, some of the things that people on the left don't like about me may attract people who are more moderate, who may have voted for Trump but are unhappy now with President Trump.
That's very true. Some people are very much in favor of stop and frisk, aggressive policing. But you used the word energized, and I see that as a major failing for Mike Bloomberg. He can spend hundreds of millions of dollars, but he's boring. He's a technocrat. He's not inspiring. So you have to campaign at some point. I don't think he is a very good campaigner, and therefore not a very good candidate. It's a test. It's almost an experiment to see how much money can buy in a political race. I mean, it may not be able to buy you love, but it may be able to buy you a nomination.
What would he be good at, though? I mean, here's a very successful businessman.
Well, I mean, he ran the second, the largest city in the United States, the second toughest job. He's got executive experience. He's got stands on issues that are favorable to Democrats. I mean, climate change, public health, gun regulation, pro-abortion, pro-gay rights. I mean, he is, and on the social sphere, a Democratic liberal. But I don't think he's the messenger for the Democrats' measure. I can't see Bernie Sanders voters or Elizabeth Warren voters moving to Mike Bloomberg. I mean, they are against billionaires. And Bloomberg in the race just solidifies their base, if you will.
But to the point that you made, those issues, those social issues, are very important to Democrats.
Yes.
And if you are trying to thread that needle between an Elizabeth Warren and a Bernie Sanders that says Medicare for all, and Michael Bloomberg as a practical, successful businessman and a true billionaire, one whose businesses have not gone bankrupt, he might be able to make the case to say, look, I have done this before. I know what will work and what won't work, and here's how we're going to provide health care for millions of Americans, but we're not going to do it the way that the extreme left wants us to do it.
Well, he's a technocrat, and he talks the technocratic talk. I don't think that Democratic voters are interested in technographic, data-driven, poll-driven, focus group-driven politicians.
All right.
All right.
It's been an interesting conversation.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you, Doug. We appreciate it. Always good to have you.